Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night, 7:07 p.m. Central, 8:07 p.m. Eastern, and you're listening to United Public Radio. And we got Jay McNicholas here with us tonight. And let me plug this stuff, and then we're going to get to our guest, Dr. Turi. And let's see here. Ozark Mountain UFO Conference, April 8th through the 10th, 2022, best western end of the Ozarks. Also, we're on UFO Paranormal Radio on YouTube, and UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials. You're listening to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. And that Ozark Mountain UFO Conference is happening right now. So I guess this is the last time I'm plugging it. So what's good about Ozark Mountain UFO Conference is if you can't go, you have to pay something, but you can watch the guest online, and sometimes they even have DVD sets, and they'll send you the DVD sets of the guests, which is pretty cool. But one last thing before we get to the guest, Sean Penn's website for helping Ukraine and other humanitarian situations, coreresponse.org. That's CORERESPONSE.org, and that's the actor Sean Penn's group that is helping Ukraine right now. There was a good interview with him and Sean Hannity. If you didn't see it, I don't watch Fox News. Sometimes I'll put UFOs Fox News just to watch their hosts freak out about UFOs. But other than that, it's still a good interview because it was Sean Penn. That's the only reason I watched it. But anyway, coreresponse.org. Check it out. And Dr. Turi, how you doing? We got you here. Am I saying your name, Dr. Turi?
You're saying just right. Thank you so very much for having me, my good friend Jeffrey. Good to go back with you. And hello, Jay. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Very busy, like always, but doing good.
Yes. And I know we've done some written interviews in the past. You've been on the show before. And now we got you back, and I want to get you on some more in the future. One of my big things with scheduling is I work with publicists, and sometimes I get lazy and just let the publicist do it for me. But now I'm getting more control, so I got more control. But the publicists do a good job. It's just sometimes you want to do your own thing, not just have a publicist do whatever they want from a book company, which they get good guests. But now I'm back in the reins after some good guests, so I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'll have more control on the schedule. So, Dr. Turi, great to have you here. It's always a pleasure. And I guess the big thing I want to talk about first that really has got my goat lately is I don't know James Gillian. I don't know him from Adam. I've never met him. That ranch seems pretty weird that you can go there and camp and see UFOs and weird stuff. I don't know what's going on there. If it's ET, maybe it is. I don't know. But I know he sends out a newsletter. And he said, Putin's taking out the trash in Ukraine. And I was like, who's this guy? Like, that's kind of a broad statement, things like that. And then we had Augie Nost on. I love him. He's a great dude, but he kind of made it seem like it was, there's just Nazis there and Putin's doing the right thing. So there's a lot of people that seem to, I don't know if they're just on the Trump side. A lot of them are. Some of them may not be. I don't know. But there's weird stuff with that Trump and QAnon and this weird thing, what I've seen in the right-wing politics, that they're painting this picture of Putin like he's kind of like a hero and taking out the garbage. And it's nationalism and it's creepy. And I think, we have Nazis here. So do we deserve to have all our babies splattered on the curb because we have Nazis here? I'm not a Nazi. None of us are Nazis. So it's upsetting that people are thinking this whole place needs to be nuked just because there's some skinhead Nazis there. It don't make any sense. But when you see that coming out of the field so easily, and my co-host Wham said a lot of these people don't realize the horrors of war. Like, I mean, I've never been in a war, but I at least realize the horrors of war. So it's easy for them to say, or maybe they do and they just don't care. It's just confusing when you see stuff like that. So, I mean, what is your take on that? It's just crazy.
Well, basically what's happening in all these people that tend to follow a flux of negativity are reptilians infected. As simple as that. And so is Putin in so many ways. The reptilians or this negative group of extraterrestrials can only survive with chaos, negativity, fear, death, drama. And you got plenty of that. Back in, In August 2021 and back in August 2020, I wrote my Nostradamus Dragon forecast, and I prepared the world for the tail of the dragon to go right on top of Russia. And in all my YouTube videos, I warn everybody for months. I used to say, I worry about Russia, I worry about Putin, not knowing during those days, 2 years ago, that I was actually forecasting what's happening right here, right now. So knowing that Russia is a Scorpio country, and Scorpio is the sign of death and drama, the reptilians are in charge of this country and are in charge of the leader. So reptilians infestation is not starting and finishing with Putin. It affects every single human being. This is why I refer as the reptilius effect. If I drink 2 or 3 beers or a bottle of scotch, I will be under the influence of the alcohol, which is a toy of the reptilians, like you could be smoking pot and getting an accident. So everybody to a certain level is reptilians infected, including myself. I took myself as an example. Of course, I don't drink so I can keep my head clear. But a majority of human beings walking the earth, I'd say 99.9% are reptilians infected and totally oblivious of it.
Well, I got a quick question I got to ask you about. Number one, we'll get back to the reptilian part, but you mentioned Russia being a Scorpio country.
Right.
I mean, we signed, Scorpio type, things from the sky on birthdays. How does a country become a Scorpio or a Libra? Is there a way to tell?
It's based upon the date of incorporation, and then if you look, if you are logical, you could see that knowing Scorpio is a sign of death and drama, they have no feeling. The negative Scorpio represent the criminal element. The good Scorpio is the eagle that represent the FBI, the CIA, the police force, the doctor that is giving, saving, protecting life. While the negative Scorpio, not a criminal or the gang leader, is totally infected and will kill just for the sake of killing. And most importantly, that I have to mention, that's a good question, by the way, Putin was born with the tail of the dragon. 1952-53 was born. His tail of the dragon is in Leo. Leo was love, fame, children, life. The tail of the dragon in his chart is in Leo. So anything to do with love, life, including particularly children and teens, they are very unlucky under his jurisdictions. Because when you elect a president, you have to suffer his stars and his fate. But humanity is not yet prepared to digest, accept, or even assimilate the cosmic code.
Yeah, and you also mentioned we're reptilian infected. In our brains, there are 3 different cortexes, one of them being reptilian. So we not only are affected, we're genetically linked, correct?
Well, if you look at it, everything in life is double. You're symmetrical. You have 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 sides of the brain. You have that reptilian brain, and you have the draconis brain. That's the creative side. The draconis are a group of extraterrestrials that feed humans with the forces of light, the sun. Okay. And without the sun, there is no life. It's life's number one is the sun. So when you create a nice music, when you create a nice painting, when you create beautiful technology to get your heart going, if it stops, okay, now you are led by the draconis and you are on the light. Now the reptilians stimulate the mind of our scientists to create nukes, to create viruses, to create all sorts of negativity. So every single human being from all walks of life are under the jurisdictions of those extraterrestrials. But as I said earlier, they do not know. In fact, I have a movie on Amazon Prime where you can watch it on my website, drturi.com. It explains the good and the bad extraterrestrials that are cursing humanity or blessing humanity.
And the good ones are Draconis? Is that what you said?
The Draconis, that they are from the constellation of Draco. They are feeding the world with the sunlight, while the Draconis reside on Pluto, which is at the verge of our solar system. And Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. That's why they picked this planet, because it's the worst of the. You're talking about Pluto, the Lord of Hell, the lord of the underworld, the death. And you could see that Russia has a history of having fun, killing and destroying everything. So if you use logic, it's undeniable that this country is a Scorpio country. And 2 years ago, when I saw the dragon moving in Scorpio, I said, oh my gosh, it's going to be right on top of Russia. And there goes the result.
So when it comes to these reptilians, are they the fallen ones from the Bible, like Satan? And then is there Christ consciousness? That would be kind of the sun and Draconis. Is that same kind of religious polarities?
Well, there are I don't know how many names that classify extraterrestrials, but I'm objective in my line of work. There is the good one and there is the bad one, and you can classify them as whatever belief system you have. So if they are the falling angel, using the biblical terms, then obviously they are the reptilians because they are falling, they are against Christ, they are the anti-Christ type of energy.
Antichrist energy.
Yeah, okay. Christ is all about love and light and forgiveness and beauty and creativity. I mean, you're talking about the Son of God. So it cannot be negative. And then Jesus was brought to this world by the Draconis. I mean, you probably heard in the Bible of 3 wise men following the stars. Those 3 wise men were astrologers. The Magi, they were very, very connected with the divine. So they knew that a very specific set of stars were going to be taking place in December in the Middle East. So they had to have a human being born under those stars, because this human being would be a Sagittarius, a prophet, somebody totally out of the normal. And the next thing you know, it goes Jesus popping out of the Virgin Mary, but the Virgin Mary had no sex. And that is called artificial insemination. It goes Jesus born under a phenomenal, fantastic set of stars, and he became the leader of the new age, the age of Pisces 2,000 years ago.
When was Jesus actually born, in your knowledge? Because he wasn't really born the day of Christmas. So he's not a Capricorn, is he?
You know, you have to remember that during those days, only the clergy had access to pen and paper, access to education. So they wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is the oldest relics we can get. And those scrolls are loaded with astrological relics and UFOs. So it is obvious that Jesus was born in December. He was born in the Middle East under the constellation of Sagittarius, the philosopher, the teacher, the prophet.
Is that the same as mine, sort of? Mine's the day after.
Yes, that's why you are. Wow. Yes, your head of the dragon is in Sagittarius. You were born in 74, if I recall. And then Sagittarius is a representation of the man, the bull, the horse, of the harrow. Okay, the Indian, all your past life related to the Mayan, the Incas, the Sumerian, where you were building all these relics, all this pyramid, and one of these building was facing specific constellations. So you have an inner knowledge of astrology within the core of your soul. Your dragon said is Sagittarius, the teacher, the philosopher.
Well, what does it mean? I mean, a lot of people say he was born at a different time. What do we have to know that? But what you just said, that the clergy and everything. I mean, I know a lot of people said, "Oh, he was born in the spring." I don't know when he was born. I trust you.
Current scholars, if I may, guys, the current scholars suspect that the Jesus figure or the character, and then he may even have a different name when he was born. As I think Ezekiel is one of them, but they think he was born somewhere between 4 and 7 BCE, and somewhere in the spring, June, July, or August.
Well, basically, you have to rely to what the paperwork said. I'm using my logic. All I know is that Nostradamus 500 years ago didn't have a watch or a computer. He's still the best astrologers of all time. And I can only go through my own intuition, through my own wisdom. We have been going through the age of Pisces last 2,000 years. It's undeniable because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the lord of the seas. The seas cover 3/4 of the world, and in the process, the reptilians have created over 875 different religions that have killed more human beings than all the disease, wars, and viruses combined together. That's the energy of Christ, and we are moving into the Antichrist. People think the Antichrist is Hitler, it's Putin, it's a human being. No, the Antichrist is a generation of people. I'm one of those. I'm quoted the Antichrist in some ways. I am not, but to the eye of a Christian, I am an Antichrist because I practice the stars. So it's a movement. And incidentally, if you watch when you watch my movie on astrology or UFOs, you are going to see pictures of all the popes being taught astrology by the Vatican Council. You're going to see pictures of the Pope being enthroned under the sign of Leo. So astrology was very, very strong. The entire Vatican is loaded with dragons and astrology. Just Google Dr. Turi, Pope Francis. You're going to see those pictures. And they were given to me by my good friend, God bless his soul, my Jordan. He's passed a few days ago. Jordan Maxwell.
Yes.
He was a really good friend of mine. He gave me those the information, including the artwork relating directly to Vatican, the corporation, and Christianity to astrology.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is December 25th is also Mithras. That was a pretty, there's some weird stuff going on that day and a lot of, different from Rome, and different situations. I was looking at Mithras now because I know I had heard of the term, but the cult of Mithras and Jupiter and Rome, and like either way, that day some kind of powerful being seems to be born. Something went down.
All right, exactly. And then again, the same old story. You have to keep in mind that Jesus, the prophet himself, was set by his Father in the heaven, by his stars to become who he was. It could have been you, could have been me, being picked up by the extraterrestrials and then be assimilated into the Virgin Mary. Okay, and there is so much information, especially when it comes to Jesus. Jesus, when he wanted to introduce humanity to our Father in the heaven, he didn't have the Bible in mind. The Bible came 300 or 400 years after his death. The Bible was edited, created, and promoted by the politically oriented churches who didn't want you to know Jesus' initial cosmic ministry, which he was teaching the essence of the 12 apostles. He was teaching anything that is related to the 12 months of the year, the 12 hours of the day, the 12 scenes, the 12 jury, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 signs of the zodiac, and the 12 houses. So it's all about astrology from the get-go. But this has been confined, cast aside, or ridiculed because the church doesn't want you to know. Knowledge is power, ignorance is evil. Meantime, as I said earlier, every single pope were enthroned under the sign of Leo, and every single pope were taught astrology, but that you don't know.
And
wasn't also Jesus' teaching have something to do with going to a more matriarchal society rather than patriarchal?
Well, you have to realize 2,000 years ago, people were not exactly educated, let's say sharp, okay? So they needed to have rules. They needed to have organization. In all these tribes had to be connected in one force. You can fight. The more you are in a group, you start your religion, you start your group, you start your cult. Okay, and then during the old days, a lot of reptilious entities have stimulated the mind of Neptunian. I call them Neptunian people who don't have much logic, and they just follow their intuition. They smoke pot. They are addicted to any form of chemicals, so they don't have any critical thinking, and they create their cult. They create their religion. So that's what the reptilians were doing. And then in the middle of the big soup of 875 different religions, and you have the core. You have Jesus' cosmic ministry. That is the first teaching, which is astrology. But again, now you're going against the rules. You're going against what you've been taught. The world of Pisces, it's very hard to go against swimming like a salmon towards your birthplace, which is as a child of the universe, where you came from, close to God. It's easy to follow the current and that following what mom and dad and grandpa and grandma or your Sunday school taught you. The world of Pisces. Most difficult area of your chart.
And what is the goal of these reptilian entities? I mean, with us, they just want to destroy us. They want to turn us into the Borg, like the Borg or something from Star Trek.
Again, good question, Jeffrey. You cannot have life without opposites. Put it this way: you cannot have a day without a night, a front without a back, a God without a devil. Now, the forces of light and the forces of darkness have been fighting each other since the get-go. Okay, and the idea is to keep it in balance. You cannot have the evil overriding the good. It'd be better if the good override the good. But again, life would be not possible without opposites. And that is the big dilemma. It's either you sign up for the devil, for darkness, for fear, for negativity, for the reptilians, or you go towards the other side: integrity, love, education, intelligence, the draconis. It's a choice inside of you. Which area are you going to support? What are you going to do? What is the part you're going to play in promoting the light of love and light, or darkness and chaos, and you in between? It's a little bit more complicated than what I can explain. The only thing I know, you cannot have life without an opposite. You cannot have a God without a devil. You cannot have a front without a back, male without a female, yin and yang. That's the eternal cycle of life. It makes you think.
And going again about the reptilians, some people suspect that, I mean, you're talking about, it sounds like two different groups, and there are people that in the UFO community who have, they suspect that some of the reptilians are dinosaurs, evolved dinosaurs from Earth that live underground and have been here since the dinosaurs, and that the draconians or the draconists come from, like you said, Draco. So is that what we're looking at? Is that those two are two separate entities but similar, and they're also in conflict?
Well, basically, the Galactic Federation of Grand Cosmic Order is like the U.S. government. Okay, they have rules, and no extraterrestrials, whether it be good or bad, must interfere with the human experience. That's the rule. Okay, now, criminal or the reptilians don't respect the rules, and that's why, in so many ways, it's difficult to really catch the message here. But as to answer you, I can only tell you what I know. Okay, I have seen extraterrestrials. I spoke to extraterrestrials. I've been in a flying saucer. They took the fetus of my wife. You know my story. It started to bug me when I was only 6 years old. So I can only go from what I know. And I can tell you extraterrestrials are active on the physical plane because they have abducted me. So like you say, they are active on the physical plane. But when you look at it, each one of my experience, no matter how dramatic they were, led me to a gift in predictive astrology. And that is something that I'm today still trying to rationalize. I'm still pissed off when they left me with a headache for 3 weeks. I wouldn't wish to my worst enemy. And it took many, many hours, in my life. I mean, it took my child, literally, the fetus. Okay, it's incredible, and it's so damn incredible that everybody has the right to be skeptical when I start to divulge what happened to me. Because you're talking about the extraordinary, but as far as I am concerned, extraterrestrials are not a product of anyone's imagination. They are as solid and as real as you are, and they are both active on the physical and spiritual level. The reptilians are more active on the physical level because they don't respect the law, and then they have dark people. They do all sorts of nasty things. The draconis are more on the spiritual side, physical and spiritual. So they seem to be leading humans more on the psychical way, by being creative, by being genius-like, by promoting the light and promoting humanity's future. Well, again, the reptilians are doing totally the opposite. Does that answer you?
That does, yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry what happened with your family, but I absolutely believe you. There are several documented stories by medicine and other medical doctors that these women had been pregnant. They were within the first trimester, I'm fairly certain, and then they have another abduction experience, and then when they come back to their doctor, they have no evidence of being pregnant, but they were. It's already been documented. The tests were there, and then there's no evidence of an abortion, no evidence of the woman having a miscarriage, but then again, no evidence that she was even pregnant for the last.
Let me ingest this. To me, first of all, there is no questions about UFOs when you got a flying saucer that's 30 feet above your head, when you go in there and talk with this guy face to face. And there is no doubt of what they can do, because after the abduction, my wife was taking a shower and she goes, honey, come here, look. I said, what? Just above the airline, she had a 2-inch scar. I mean, it's there, it's physical. And then they also interfere. They need chaos, they need problems, they don't want a beautiful world. So they can go into the fetus of a woman and start to manipulate the genes using the stars, because all those extraterrestrials are cosmic conscious. They know your celestial identity. They know your UCI, your unique celestial identity. So they mingle with the fetus of the mother. They play with all the genes. The next thing you know, you have a gay, or you have a lesbian, or you have a Down syndrome. They just do not want perfection. All they want is a way to create chaos. So if I manipulate the gene in the womb of a mother that has been smoking pot, who is drunk, who does all stupid things, which is becoming, of course, much more vulnerable to reptilian infestation, the next thing you know, you're going to have a female body with a guy inside, or vice versa. Now, a lot of traditionally educated doctors, psychologists and psychiatrists, and I got a few of them a student, by the way, they cannot, they only use their 5 logical, rational senses to make sense to something which is well above their head. It's the reptilians and the draconians have been interacting with the human race since the get-go, and they're getting much, much more active nowadays. There is a war above your head. What we have done here is the result of what's happening above your head, but you're not necessarily able to, again, assimilate it because of your senses. And then the reptilian seems to be leading nowadays by looking at what's going on. But I don't think the draconians will let the reptilians put an end to the work that they have been working so hard to produce, to the experiments. So there'll be no nukes that's going to blow up the planet and erase humanity. The draconians will not allow it. They will interfere if they have to.
Do these beings try to block Christ consciousness and God? Like, can they block that? I heard something that I forget it was on YouTube, said the reptilians somehow were blocking that connection, that they would try to block it.
Well, of course, and it's part of their job to make sure you get depressed, to make sure you take drugs, to make sure you're impractical, to make sure you're confused, to make sure you hate others. That's their food. It's a psychical thing. They need human negativity. We are batteries, and they are feeding on that flux of negativity.
So they try to invoke these emotions of depression and suicide, and like you said, we're batteries, we're food to them.
Exactly.
And when
physical food. No, they're not going to go and eat you. No,
they don't eat you. They just the energy.
They use your psyche, your electricity, put it this way, to the people who might have a bit of a problem when understanding such a high level of conversation.
What do you say you said they inspire suicide? What is the process of that if they actually get you to commit suicide? I mean,
basically, they're going to use their goodies, drugs, legal or illegal drugs. If you already, that's going to imbalance the chemical of your brain. So they're going to make it easy for them to invade you. Okay, and then they might also come through your dream states. They have horrific nightmare. Once they have infested you, the chance of escaping the reptilians are literally zero. And then if you have a lifestyle of a rich and famous, you're going to take pills, to be on stage the next day, and you're going to take pills to go to bed the next day. So you're going to become very, very vulnerable. Your brain chemical are going to be so imbalanced that you're going to start to nurture negativity at a higher order, to the point where if you don't get a machine gun and kill everybody around you because you hate the world, then you're going to kill yourself. That's the end result of the reptilian infestation.
So kill yourself or become a shooter and kill others. That's like their outcome is
That's
destruction.
where it comes from. Yes.
And I
Suicide
think
by
there's
police.
something to what you say with alcohol and drugs being a gateway to letting them in.
That's
I'm on day 10 or 11 of quitting Kratom, which is legal in Florida. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Kratom. And what it is I have arthritis and stuff real bad. It's a plant that stimulates like opioids on some level if you take enough of it. Well, I had taken it for years because of arthritis and stuff. I'm on day 10 of quitting it, and it really sucks quitting it. Like it felt like crap.
Absolutely. I mean,
I think go ahead.
The reptilians are creating all sorts of nasty things: snakes, scorpion, venomous vipers, and spiders. They're creating all sorts of negative things to destroy life, and their potential of creation is as good as the draconis. There is no limit. Now, the big difference between a bird of love with all the colors singing a beautiful song and a freaking bat who can give you a disease. You see, so both of these creation are stimulated by the forces of evil and the forces of light, and both have the right to live. And you're in the middle of all that. And then the difference between us and animals is that the part of God in us is much stronger. We can apply our will to recognize what's right and what's wrong. You have a choice. Am I going to work for the light, or am I going to work for evil? And there are people that are totally incapable to be positive. They're going to see you. They're going to find something wrong about you. They're going to dissect you, find out every single thing that you do or say is wrong. And they will enjoy and even wishing to, like in my case, to die because I am against their God. I practice astrology. I'm supposed to end up in the stake. They have this mentality. They are totally reptilian infected. The level of infestation varies, but there is no one of us which is able to avoid the reptilians during the next hour. You're going to have some negative thought. It's part of the human experience. But when you become aware of such energy, okay, that now you can fight. You can use the same psychical energy to battle those entities. No, I don't want to be negative. I don't have to be jealous of somebody. Like once I remember, I parked my Corvette in front of a bar without the top on it. When I came out, somebody spit on the windshield and threw a lighted cigarette on my leather seat. I mean, how can you attract a Corvette if you spit on it and throw a cigarette? But these people are infected. They don't understand. The reason why I attract the Corvette is because I have high hopes. I understand the force of the superconscious in time and space. In fact, my new movie is all about the superconscious. You can watch it on my website, drturi.com. Give you an idea how important it is to control your thought, because your future is nothing else but the reincarnation of your thought. And you cannot let the reptilians mess them up.
So how do you kick their ass?
Well, you're doing it on your own way.
Reminds me of They Live. You ever see John Carpenter's They Live with the glasses and Roddy Piper? They put it on and all that. Yeah.
I have chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
There'll be situation in time where you won't be able to beat the reptilians. For example, part of the human experience is that in an eternal battle between emotion and logic, emotion will always win and you will always lose. In the case of Will Smith, for example, he was born with the moon in Scorpio. So the draconis are right there on his moon, and the moon regulates the emotional response to human. You could see, first of all, and secondly, he's a Libra. So as a Libra, they like to take to smoke. Yeah, it's just the way it is through the stars. So he was very vulnerable. He could not resist the reptilians who took over his body, his mind, and his soul, and he went out there and smacked the hell out of the other guy.
I'm Team Chris Rock.
But what I'm trying to say is,
it wasn't that bad of a joke, I thought, but
no. But now you could see a full example of a human being that was under the jurisdiction of the reptilian effect. Somebody that was probably high already. Okay, he probably smoked pot or something, and he was calm. But he went there, and his emotion took over, and the reptilians ruined his life. And it's pretty much like
10 years banned from the Oscars, and
exactly.
It wasn't worth it. You know?
Look at Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is a Pisces, the most addictive sign of the zodiac. Bruce Willis being kicked out of so many bars is insane. And then next thing you know, now he's suffering a disease where his cognitive power are gone. He's a reptilian infected. The reptilians have burned his gray cells in his brain, and then now they slowly take him out of the game. It's sad because he did so good as a Pisces, very artistic, very spiritual. He did so good for society. But at the end, he fell. He fell for the reptilians and got addicted to alcohol and drugs. And see, the result is losing it.
So do these reptilians abduct people? Because I know you've heard of David Paulides, missing 411, all these people disappearing from national parks. And I saw something recently from Israeli Live News saying that the military is being deployed there because of it, like to guard, like more guards there and stuff. But I know a lot of people are going missing though. I've interviewed him like 5 times, but it's been a while.
The reptilians are strongly active. They are waiting for you to be at the right place at the right time, or under one of your negative cosmic biorhythm. There'll be days when you wake up, you wish you never woke up that day, because you're going to have a flat tire, you're going to be stopped by a cop, you're going to have a bad telephone call, you're going to get sued, God knows what. This is called a negative cosmic biorhythm. And there are days where you're going to get up and everything you touch turns gold and you win the lottery.
Negative cosmic biorhythm.
Yeah, you have to be cosmic conscious. You have to be a student of mind to understand those cosmic winds and how they affect human psyche. So if you happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to be a direct target to the reptilians, and they will take you, period. They will not hesitate. You'll disappear. Now, in the middle, you can also realize that wild animals are also responding to the reptilian effect. You got a nice dog, okay, he's going to bite you, or you're going to be hanging around, walking around with your dog, and you're going to see a mountain lion or a bear killing you. You got to be at the wrong time at the wrong place. That's called cosmic biorhythm, and the reptilians are fully aware of those cosmic winds and are using it to dispose of us.
They use animals and dogs and stuff to do different things.
And anything that is negative, the armament of a tiger or a lion or a bear is the fangs and his claws. So those animals are ruled by a planet called Mars, which is the lord of war, the lord of aggressivity. Okay, and then they know all that, and they stimulate those animals. They see everything before you can even think, and they make sure you don't return. They need drama. They need to have the parents and the family and the sibling crying. They need that. It's their food. But it's like you not having dinner tonight. It's a vampire. It's a psychical vampire that led into the darkness. It's such a powerful force that has been with us since forever. But slowly but surely, as we're moving into the world of Aquarius, we're going to be able to reconnect with our space brothers, understand the good guys out there, okay, and start to work with them. Then one day we'll go on Mars. But now with the technology we have today, never ever will you ever set foot on Mars. So I know Musk is wasting his time and his money, but hey, he has to, like the scientific matrix and the religious matrix have to survive. And so they need to entertain you, and they need to make money and run information and manipulations. That's what it is. God didn't create Mars or the moon for Elon Musk for his business purposes. Much deeper than that.
So what do you think is going to happen with Ukraine and Russia? It seems like eventually Russia's probably going to drop a bomb on Kyiv or whatever. I know they just moved away from it, but just waiting for them to drop a bomb, right? Well, I mean, pretty much.
Well, if they do that, first of all, you need to understand that Putin is the biggest coward on the planet. He's a Leo tail. No, he's not only a bully, he's a coward. He's born with the tail of the dragon in Leo. Leo, tail of the dragon, kills children and kills life. And he's afraid of dying. Okay, so for him to use the bomb, he has much more than you to lose. Okay, so he wants that you be sure of that. From the stars, he wants. And the proof of that, look, when he talked to our French president, he was like 15 miles away on that big, huge table. Anytime he talked to his people, he's miles away. He's afraid of dying. That is a normal concept in astrology when you're born with the tail in Leo to have a subconscious fear of death and disease. And then because of that, he's manipulating. He's manipulating the UE. He's manipulating the entire world and the United States. Okay? But at the same time, you have to remember he's under the effect of the reptilians. Okay? So God knows how far he could go. But through his stars, he will not. And mostly because the Draconis will not allow it. We already...
Well, I agree with you on that. I think not, in my experience, all bullies are cowards. They don't stand up to force.
No.
And the thing with Putin is he wants everyone to be afraid that he will drop the bomb, but he knows that will be his demise. As soon as he drops a nuclear weapon, or even if he goes to chemical, chemical weapons.
Yeah, the NATO charter, he knows that. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
The NATO charter, we would have to jump in there.
Yeah,
he does not want the whole world coming after him.
NATO should already been there from the first day.
I agree. Yeah,
that's their big mistake. Okay, so basically, when the dragon moves out of Russia, that will be in August 2023. You will not recognize Russia. The death of Russia is going to come from the inside. The children, the new generation, are enemy number one of this man. That's why thousands of people already have left Russia. And that's why he controls the information. Everybody is being manipulated. But the young generation have access to YouTube, or they have access to the different type of information, and they get to know what the hell's going on. And they stand up to him. Of course, they end up, 15,000 of them are in jail already. But you cannot put the entire Russian community in jail. So the demise of Russia, I say around July, August 2023, this will be done. And then this country will not be the same. And he'll be gone, either of a heart attack or being destroyed or burned or killed by the kids. Now, you ask me, I tell you, through the stars.
So are you saying exactly that Russia will be dissolved as a country by August 2023?
His regime. And they're already
regime. Okay.
Yeah, his regime. Okay, and he has the tail of the dragon in Leo, which means all this put a stress on his heart. People who have the tail of the dragon in Leo, on the medical aspect of my work, Leo was love and light. It was the heart. So if you have the tail in there, you're going to have a heart attack. It's just part of the rules on the medical aspect. And you have to remember, the father of medicine said, you cannot call yourself a physician or a doctor if you never study astrology. I mean, you're talking about the father of medicine. But our young doctors have been indoctrinated scientifically or religiously, and they think astrology is a pseudoscience when it's actually the mother of all science, especially when it comes to the medical field. But they don't know. It's just the way it is. The reptilians make sure this type of wisdom is cast aside and ridiculed and then put in a box. And it's coming out. It's coming out because not everybody is stupid. And you, as a messengers of the gods, Jeffrey, including you, Jays, you're definitely doing your part in bringing that light and being an opening to the Draconis to reach more people through my work. And for that, I thank you guys.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in making sure that the good aliens get to us. And I'd like to go back to a thing that you mentioned earlier, which is something that I actually wrote on my notes, is the Galactic Federation of the Grand Cosmic Order. On your website, that's where I got that from. Now, first of all, what I'd like to ask you is I was challenged out, pre-show to get a question to you that you hadn't been asked. So I want to ask you about the Grand Cosmic Order in a different way.
Please.
So in the 1960s, there's a man named Gene Roddenberry who created Star Trek. Mm-hmm. In the first season, the Star Trek Enterprise, the spaceship, Captain Kirk's spaceship, is controlled by a thinly veiled NASA-like organization called the United Earth Space Probe Agency, UESPA. In the second season, it's controlled by a galactic federation of planets, and the planets are some 120 solar systems and about 60 to 80 different alien species. Somewhere between season 1 and season 2, allegedly, Gene was approached by a group of alien men in black who were representatives of the Council of the Nine. And I'd like to know if you had ever heard of this rumor that Gene was, represented or was met with representatives of the Galactic Federation and the Council of Nine, and are the two men are mixable? Is the Council of Nine part of the Galactic Federation, or are they two separate entities?
Well, the Galactic Federation of Grand Order is pretty much like, let's use something that people can relate to. It's like the government of the United States. Okay, they have to command, organize, and give the rules. Now, this universe is infinite, so they are not just the Galactic Federation of Grand Cosmic Order to this universe, because there's only the United States. There is a lot of countries who have their own government. So that should answer your question. Yes, definitely there are a lot of branches involved in the regulation, but this Galactic Federation or Grand Cosmic Order is in charge of our solar system and is not connecting with anybody else but our solar system.
And they, like you said, they have certain rules, and some of these rules came out in Star Trek. For instance, the Prime Directive. It's almost exactly what you said. They cannot interfere with mankind.
No.
The Star Trek Prime Directive is a little different. They cannot interact with a planet that is less technologically advanced than they are, and nor can they interfere with the natural progression of that planet. So they can't help a government. They can't help somebody who's going to be a historical figure if he's going to die. They can't help him. They have to just sit there and watch the guy die.
It's pretty much like what's happening in Ukraine when you look at it, because of some specific regulations. Mm-hmm. It's sad, but that's the reality of what's going on. But how far can you push? How many kids are going to die before NATO finally do what it's supposed to do since the get-go? And
they are there for humanitarian aid, and I don't understand why in their charter they cannot help a country that's not a member. And Ukraine is surrounded by NATO members. I mean, Poland.
But that's because of Russia. Russia are afraid that this land is just like a bumper to them, security. So at the same time, if they hijack it, now they're going to become much too close to the European countries. And now they're going to feel like he does with Ukraine. European countries are going to feel the same with him. So that's why this bumper had to be set this way. And he went there and messed it up because he was, again, not thinking. He just played Russian roulette the wrong way. He's going to blow his head up. That's going to go in his bed.
Yeah, I think he's definitely he's over his head. He's got too much to deal with. He wasn't expecting such resistance from the army and civilians.
You have to remember, sorry to cut you off, Jay, but what I'm saying is he's born with a tail of the dragon in Leo. He has an extraordinarily huge ego. He wants to make history. He wants to be the best of what could happen to Russia. He wants to revive the USSR. It's just an ego trip. It's totally out of the order. And I can guarantee you that born in October, Putin is doing drugs.
Yeah, I don't doubt that for a second. Many great leaders have. Hitler did, Kennedy did, for their backs, for injuries. But yeah, the people that are, I mean, we were talking about Aginosis on the show last week, and he said that he felt that they were going after Nazis. I think we're well past any Nazis still being alive that it would be appreciable. He wants something, whether it's the buffer zone you're talking about, or maybe I was thinking earlier this week that maybe the Germans hid their stash of gold in Ukraine that they took from the Jews in World War II. Maybe there's some technology that the Germans left behind. Maybe some Haunebu 2 or 3 or 4 craft they hid in Ukraine before the war was over. He's after something. There is a specific goal, but no one knows he won't say what it is.
He's after his story, my friend. He's after making history. I don't judge anyone through my 5 human, rational, limited senses. I judge people through their stars. I did his stars. I did a video on YouTube explaining his stars. On top of that, he was born with Mars, the Lord of War, in Sagittarius in his 3rd house. This October, November, December. That's the mental process. He has the Lord of War in the mind. So he cannot think in terms of peace when he wants something. His ego is driving him to rebirth the USSR. That's basically what the stars says. And he's going to use everything in his power, okay, to succeed. He was born with the head of the dragon, which means lucky area in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules technology and nukes. So subconsciously, he tapped on his head by scaring the hell out of the UE and NATO that he would use nukes when he wants. He's got the moon in Gemini. You cannot trust the Gemini. He plays, he lies, he adapts, he cheats. You can't trust that moon. There is so many ways to explain his psyche, which is already infected. But I'm telling you, he would not push the button. He wouldn't even get close to talk, to do something with nukes. But he took a chance, and he succeeded. Yeah. And he's killing a hell of a lot of people until NATO finally wake up.
What is some of this weird stuff coming out of exopolitics with Michael Salla, and there's Alina something? She sounds like something from Lord of the Rings, Danon or something weird. But there's different personalities, Alfred Weber, stuff like that. Like one time I questioned Alfred Weber about Obama going to Mars and time travel and all this weird stuff, and his automatic response was, "You're a Satanist that works for the cabal." Just because I don't agree Obama time trip to Mars. Right. But my point is, right now the story they're spinning is that Putin is looking for the space arcs in Ukraine, some kind of space arc, the Ark of the Covenant. These people should be running on Amazon.
Right, let me tell you something. There is a very, very thin hair between divine cosmic information that I provide about human welfare and ETs and total and pure, ridiculous conspiratorial imagination. And now every single people you're going to deal with has a set of stars. That person's set of stars may or may not agree with yours. In other words, you can relate to people only because of his intelligence, his education, his experiences, and most of all, his stars. And that's something that 99.9% of the people of planet Earth do not know anything about. And that is the dilemma of humanity, not being able to understand God's cosmic design, understand Jesus' ministry, and how astrology is literally controlling the psyche of human, and these planets are being manipulated by those entities. That is the dilemma that I have. Make you think.
Definitely going deep, for sure.
What month were you born, Jay? I forgot to ask you.
October 9th, 1966.
All right, so you're a professional student. Libras love to read.
I do like to read, but I have severe dyslexia, so reading's difficult.
It's a gift.
So
it's still a gift.
I prefer to get information through video.
You are a mental, you are a library. You're a walking library of information. You constantly gather information. And your lesson in life as a Libra is to learn the laws, not just the laws of man, which is the Bible, the IRS, the DMV, the red light industry. You also have the laws of light to master, or astro psychology. That's what I practice. That's the source purpose of a Libra. Your mental process, October, November, December, is into the world of Sagittarius, which is the philosopher, the teacher, the student, the prophet. And then your mental process is right on the dragon's head of Jeffrey. So you have that natural flux. The stars are working together. That's why you attract each other, and that's why you can delegate information and pass on information to the rest of the world.
Yeah, we do pretty well. I've been on the show with Jeffrey for going on 8 years now. The show's been around, 13, Jeff?
And 14 now.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. I've been a teacher. I've been a student.
I know.
I never stop gathering information, and people hate asking me questions because I don't give you a yes or no, maybe, or I don't know. You get an Encyclopedia Britannica answer. Or whatever you ask me.
I know, you're very well read.
That's what you're getting.
you do it your way. You do it the way God designed you, and you're doing well. And that's why you're messengers of the God lining up with Jeffrey.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be on your show, guys.
Well,
let me give you a couple dates, because I want to prove to you. I like to put the money where the green is. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple dates. Today we are the 8th. Okay, I'm going to give you the date of the 12th, okay? And then expect shocking news, pretty much like what happened with Will Smith smacking Rock. All anything to do with surprises, anything to do. I think France will make the news. I have to tell you how detailed I can be. Anything to do with children, love, light, France, gold. That's the energy I see for the 12. On the other hand, I want you to be ready for the 24th. That's going to be a very, very interesting time if you're into UFO. I see cosmic news, things with the universe, UFOs. I see things with earthquakes. It's a sudden release of energy type of window. A lot of shocking news, a lot of surprise. Maybe a cyber attack on an airplane we crashed during those days. I'm just giving you some keywords. And in fact, I just wrote a newsletter. I made a video on YouTube where I have those dates. So they're on your show now. So when my prediction comes to pass, I will prompt your show and our discussion.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
so. You're saying the 12th of April and the 24th of April. Those are the 2 dates.
Right. Yeah, and you have to remember, I brought the FBI visit me twice in my house. Twice, because I gave exact date of terrorist attack. I say on that day, I went to their website. I went to France, to my country. Okay, and I said on that day, be ready for a terrible terrorist attack. It happened. And then I went to the United States FBI, and there's many FBI and websites, and I told them on that day, be ready for a terrorist attack. The next thing you know, 4 FBI agents in 2 occasions came and knocked at my door, wondering if I was a sleeping cell. How the hell do you know on that day you gave us on our website, on the email we read, that was going to be a terrorist attack in France, in Paris, and in New York? They never got it. I tried to explain to them that I deal with the stars. I'm not a sleeping cell. I translate God cosmic design. I read the hieroglyph of the divine. That's what I do. It's my gift. It's my curse, whatever it is. That's my UFO predictive legacy.
So you're talking about 9/11?
Well, 9/11 was fully predicted 1.5 years and in great detail. Just Google 9/11 Dr. Turi. You're going to see what I printed and published a year before. Everything that happened in detail.
Are you aware of the $20 bill? Folding it in a certain way, it almost 100% mirrors the towers after they were hit.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing things that I cannot.
It can't be a coincidence. It absolutely cannot be. So, and this $20 bill was designed the 1950s or 60s. So, I mean, this prediction was. I mean, I'm not saying you were wrong, but this was on the $20 bill for decades. Then afterwards, everyone's like, "Oh, fold the dollar bill this way, fold the $20 bill this way." And I did that. I was like, "Holy cow!" It's absolutely not a coincidence. And then there's another one. I don't remember which denomination. It's a 10 or a 5. You fold it a certain way, and it looks like the front face of the Pentagon, the naval side of the Pentagon that got hit.
Yeah, well, and then in my case, it's just plain English. Just plain English with a date.
Right. That's the easier way to go.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to go, but it's there. And a year before it happened, I gave all in detail. And then that's why probably one of my most famous predictions. And the last time I was again on Coast to Coast, the same story. That was in October. I told him, be ready for the natural disaster. Got nowhere to stop the fire. Millions of animals will be killed. 2 weeks later, we had the fire in Australia and destroy all these animals. And then they kicked me out when I said that Trump won't be reelected and COVID will kill people. That they kicked my ass. After that, they don't want me anymore over there. That's just the way it is. Yeah, sad. But they've been helping me all my life. I wouldn't be Dr. Turi without Coast to Coast. So I have to have respect for Tom and for George for what they did to me over the years. But the way they treated me last time I was on the show was bad. It's just the way it is. It's conflict of interest. It might be that the radio station is very political and it's very conservative. And it goes me saying Trump won't be elected. And when all these guys said he will be reelected. And I was right. But anyway.
Yeah, often, and that's sad, but often things that happen is when people begin to not understand something that's outside of their control, they attack it. So that's probably what happened is they just...
Well, you're in a certain good position to understand me on the radio. That you're going to get that all right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it is. So
I have a good question, and this might be one of the ones that you haven't heard of before.
Go ahead.
But this guy's been on with George Knapp, and he's been on Coast to Coast. He's been on lots of places. When I was in high school, we had the elemental table of the elements. And I remember specifically there are two blowouts. One is man-made isotopes, and the other is nuclear isotopes. And on the man-made nuclear isotopes, I remember a specific entry, 115 UUP. And it didn't have a name. And it was on, this is 1983, 84. It was in the school textbook, element 115 UUP. 1993, this gentleman, Bob Lazar, comes around and he starts talking about the UFOs in not Area 51, but Sector 4, S4, what they call the Papoose Lake facility, 15 miles west of the Groom Lake facility, which is Area 51. He mentions Unun Pentium, element 115. And this is a good 10, 12 years after I'd seen it in my science textbook. And then recently, was it 2013, the Russians all of a sudden come up with it, and it's changed its name from Ununpentium to Moscovium. What can you tell me about that element in this story, if you know about it?
Well, all I can tell you is that there are so many people that have been directly or indirectly dealing with extraterrestrials, including scientists. And as far as I'm concerned, my experience are physical. They are not just, I'm not a walk-in, I'm not pretending this, I'm not a scientist working in secret. I'm just a little French astrologer that has been touched by the divine and explaining everything in great detail. Mm-hmm. So again, there is so many variations, so many group of extraterrestrials. Anytime you're going to deal with a human being, he's going to have his own story. And then that's where you have to desiccate a fact from frictions. And I guess you're, again, in a good position to do that because you have so much information that you could just, junk with it. I can't. Mm-hmm. As far as that specific story is concerned, I believe what he said was real.
Yeah, the evidence is clear. I mean, he hasn't made a single dime off of his story. Nope. He has, in fact, actually been arrested for, put in jail for, and lost money because of bringing his story out. And he hates being interviewed anymore, but the guy is genuine. He wanted all of us to know what he saw. He wasn't granted access to the alien bodies. He wasn't given access to anything else.
He's not going to convince me because I know he's right.
Same here. He won't convince me or Jeff. We already know. But I mean, the poor guy just has had the roughest time after his story came out. So
yeah, it's pretty amazing. You know what? As we move into the age of Aquarius, we are moving away from the age of Pisces, the age of religion and deception, and we're moving away from that age. We're moving into the age of technology, the age of science, the age of UFOs, and then as our vibration accelerates, everything is accelerating, like Art Bell used to say in the old days. Okay. We are going to be delegating with those extraterrestrials, the good guys, because the reptilians will be somewhere, somehow being forced on a different plane, a different solar system. And that's the idea, to keep them away. The Earth is such a rare piece of real estate. I mean, it's so valuable to them because we are here. In my world, extraterrestrials are responsible for our existence. That's debatable by some other people. Debatable, okay. So you got various scientific explanation. We coming from a monkey, or we coming from the rib of a woman. Whatever. You choose science or you choose religion. That's your choice. That has to do with your background, your education, and your ornamental development. As far I make that judgment because of my experiences. The extraterrestrials are not a product of imagination. Mm-hmm. Send them. Deal with them. They left me with a legacy. And I'm constantly offering the proof to all the people that are following me on YouTube or in my private mailing list. We're talking about thousands and thousands of people from all over the world. Okay. So, and then all these people are not gullible. They are stupid. They are curious. They are truth seekers. And they have a brain of their own. And they can add 2 and 2 makes 4. Well, he did that, and there we go. So that's all I have. Mm-hmm. But as far as you are concerned, you guys are just being led by a force that you may not necessarily realize or understand. But all I can tell you is much of your wishes will be granted.
No, that's cool. I would like that to have that come true. Now, you did mention that our planet is special and it's unique. And it's unique in several ways. One, we are not a binary system. Two, we have 3 planets in this system that have or had a atmosphere and life on it. Mars had and is gone. It had liquid water and it's gone. Something is on Venus. There is a huge, thick layer of carbon monoxide on the planet Venus, which only comes from biological processes. And then we have Earth. So we know for a fact that that's unique, that there's 3 in the Goldilocks zone planets. And there might even possibly 2 more, Europa and Io, some of the moons.
Exactly, Europa, the Jupiter's satellite.
And so that makes us unique. And they want that. All the other planets, some of these alien creatures has come from societies where they are in a binary, trinary, or quaternary system, or they live 1 light year, half a light year away from another solar system that's very close. So they can, once they get interstellar space travel, they can interact. So we're out of the neighborhood. We're like in a back alley somewhere in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
But we have been interacted with by them for, in some cases, some people say 500,000 years. Just recently, one of our UFO researchers passed away, John Olson Lear, the son of
John Lear, John Lear.
Yeah, and he and Ben Rich have both said something very similar. John Lear said, if you can imagine it, we can already do it. And Ben Rich said, if you've seen it on Star Wars or Star Trek, we can already done it, or we tried it, or we decided it wasn't worth trying. Ben Rich also said, if we now have the ability to take ET home, and it won't take years. He's also passed away some years earlier. But both of them hint at technologies, Star Trek level technology, Star Wars level technology, lightsabers, phasers, communicators, which we have, cell phones, maybe even, replication technology where we can replicate our own food, clothing, and building materials. What can you tell us about what hidden technologies that are hidden by the U.S. government, Russian government, and so forth that we should already have out, which would help humanity get to that next level?
Well, again, there is no limits as far as science is concerned. Okay, our limits are just our own limits based upon the environment, most of all, and that's why some of those planets are priceless for certain groups of extraterrestrials who need nickel, gold, all sorts of metal that not even present on this planet, to tell you the truth. Okay? So it doesn't stop just at Mother Earth's technology. Okay, anytime you're building a battery, you need all sorts of components. We have those on planet Earth. Okay, now that's why our batteries have limits. Okay, now they are batteries that are used by extraterrestrials that are cold fusion made type of batteries, which means the power is forever and you're never going to end it up. But we don't have that yet. And that will be brought by the extraterrestrial in time and space when we vibrate at that level. We're not there yet. We didn't even scratch the surface of the wonder of the technological advancement that we can use to benefit humanity. That's not going to be accessible to us until we become a little bit more intelligent and start to be peaceful and productive and educated and sensitive. That ain't going to happen while the reptilians are here because they don't want us to succeed. It's pretty much like the Russian trying to annex Ukraine because it does not fit their own purpose. It's deeper, much, much deeper. I'm trying to give you some logical information that can be assimilated by your normal brain. But we are talking about discovery, scientific marvel that is unthinkable for the time being because we don't have the mental process to assimilate it. But
I agree that there's some technologies we just can't fathom. But we've been helped. Someone's been helping us along. We haven't progressed naturally. Go back to 1800s, 1890s. We have steam power. 1904, we have flight. 1944, we have jet power and fighters in the air. 1945, we have nuclear devices. Come up to now, we have cell phones, we have battery cars, we have all this great stuff that did just that short 100-year span.
In 100 years or so. In the age of Aquarius, humanity has made more discovery in 50 years than 2,000 years spent in the age of Pisces. Pisces is all about belief, religion, deception. There's no progress. Now, a new cosmic wind, a uranic cosmic wind, the Uranus or Aquarius rose geniuses, technology, the future, humankind, humanitarianism. You're talking about an energy that is so damn progressive, it's insane, and it's so fast. So that's why we made so much progress. And it's all stimulated by the Draconis. Your brain is your brain. There is no difference between your brain, my brain, the one of Einstein, or a killer. Same information, some densities, same wiring, stuck in a bunny box to protect it. What's different? What's different is your celestial identity, is those stars. Your brain is a computer which is reacting to an outside stimuli produced by the stars, which are manipulated for good or for worse by different group of extraterrestrials. That's the best way I can explain what's going on. And then once we manage to be more productive, then the extraterrestrial will find us with their presence. And they come here, and then we're going to go on Mars. But with the today's technology, you're never going to go on Mars. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
We're already there, though. We're already there.
If you electronically, with robots. That's not
exactly.
The same. Yeah.
No, it's not the same.
But there are some people in the UFO community who say that the Russians actually were able to send from World War II, by the way, were able to send a Haunebu 4 and a Haunebu 3 spacecraft from Earth to Mars, and those men were lost, and somewhere on Mars we can find that. Do you believe that at all?
Well, when it comes to Scorpio, I see Russia as a Scorpio. You're talking about the most secretive sign of the zodiac. You're talking about one of the most deadly and powerful, calculated energy of the zodiac. And every one of us has that Scorpio energy. I'm a Scorpio when I teach and when I investigate. You're a Scorpio in your financial endeavors when it comes to money, investment, corporate endeavors. That's the beauty of Libras. They become Scorpio in the second house of money. Any one of us has that Plutonic, Scorpionic energy in one of the houses that regulates the human experience. It's a world that it's a shame that people are putting so much energy into the physical manifesto, and the world is completely imbalanced when it comes to the spiritual manifesto. If we could bring that back together, we could make such a progress, mostly in understanding each other instead of cursing and trying to kill each other because our Mercury is in square or is in opposition. Then would be more easy to delegate with each other once we understand our celestial identity. But they don't teach that in our college and school, university just yet. I'm well ahead of time as far as the human conception is concerned. I'm a pioneer of the mind in my own right. That's why I have psychiatrists and psychologists who told me I've learned more with you in your crash course in Sedona in a week time than 7 years in my accredited college. You're talking about facts. Okay, it's a big difference between education, intelligence, and a gift. Okay, there is so much more. The idea is to keep an open mind, dig into someone else who has something different to present you with, and try to get out of your own box. Because I have learned that you learn more when you listen than when you talk. And sometimes you have the gift of the gab, like I do, and you also have the ability to listen and learn, and then you're very progressive. I can say that in your case, guys.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, we also talked about just before the show, crystals. And you mentioned crystals that you can use for money, for love, aliens, and health. And how do you recharge them? So what crystals can you use for those different things that people covet? And then when you discharge it, how do you fix it? How do you get it back to working again?
Well, let's talk about you. For example, being born in October, you carry a hell of a lot of past life with the Mayan, the Incas, the Sumerian, and the Atlanteans, and that's why history is one of your fascination. Okay,
that's true.
I know your stars. Believe me. So you during your past life with the Indians, you never wore shoes. That's why you could have problem on your feet, flat feet. I also problems on the feet. Okay, so. If you cannot connect with Mother Earth, you are going to degenerate. So as a Libra, like every one of us, at the same time, you regenerate from the magnetic field of the Earth. But You spend your time on carpet, on wood floor, on your tile, you're not connecting with Mother Earth. So the wild Indian in you is desperate, okay? So you need to go out, walk barefoot, hug a big tree, hug a horse, a cat, or a dog, because they don't wear shoes. So they regenerate faster than you. There is all the way to regenerate. You regenerate when you touch plants, because they enter the ground. If your plant dies, or your cat or your dog hit your plants, because he's not connecting again with Mother Earth. So you get crystals, rocks. Okay, rocks, the product of Mother Earth. You bring your crystal, the bigger the better, but sometimes they don't have to be too big. You can have a small one that helps you, but like a battery, it will degenerate. Okay, so you got to put it outside in the sun. Better if you put it when the moon is waxing. You don't put it when the moon is waning, because the reptilians might put their energy in it, positive and negative. The farmers don't plant when they feel like. They watch the cycle of the moon. Farmers almanac. It goes the same with recharging a crystal. So you put it outside. Hopefully, if you're looking for love, you put it when the moon is in Leo or in the sun. Love and light, that's energy, that's power. We charge real fast. And you got to be aware of the various cosmic energy. Every single planet is rising every certain hours. The moon changes sign every 2 or 3 days. You have to be aware of the mechanical universe, of the universe. Universal mechanics to actually recharge your talisman properly. And when I make a talisman, of course, I don't make a talisman because I say I'm going to make a talisman. I have to wait until the moon is waxing. I have to wait until she makes a good aspect to your dragon's head. If you're looking for love, I have to pick a Venus rising. If you're looking for money, I have to look for a Taurus, Venus energy. If you're looking to write a book and you need mental dexterity, then I'm going to look for a strong Mercury, the messengers of the god. If you're looking for learning and teaching, I'm going to look for a Jupiterian energy. So it's an art. So every single thing that you buy is a talisman. If you buy a car, for example, you decide to go buy a car. Let's say you buy this car after the full moon. When the moon is in Scorpio, well, good luck to you. You're going to be on a highway. If you're lucky, you're going to break your leg. If you're unlucky, you're going to die. There is no accident. Only cosmic circumstances are at work that science and religion, for that matter, have forgotten. And it's worthwhile to investigate. It's worthwhile to teach our children, not just the physical aspects of life and science. You got to match it up with the spirit. And that's why the children commit suicide, because it's okay to teach them geography, algebra, science, history, and the art, but who is there to tell them who they are at the spiritual level? They have no grounding. What the hell am I doing in this world? They have to swallow 2,000 years of information in a few months, a few years, and bypass their aptitude to delegate and assimilate so much information that they're disconnected with nature. They go crazy. There is, in my case, I'm an ADD. Or ADHD. I was born with a very extraordinarily powerful Mercury conjuncting Jupiter. It's very difficult for me to stay 2 minutes without fidgeting. I have to get rid of this surplus, tremendous physical and mental energy that I was blessed with. And that's why, as a kid, I was amusing the class. I could not sit 5 minutes. I could not listen to my teacher. But that was an order by God. God didn't want me to learn and regurgitate the books, because the books, so the codification of thought, does not mean it's the truth, because it's printed and because it's accepted as a general discipline. Okay, it doesn't mean it's true. So God made me in a way that I had to go and learn with my hands through experiences, and that led me to becoming Dr. Turi. So that's related to everything else. If you want to look for extraterrestrials, first of all, do not bring your car. Okay? A car is metal. Metal is controlled by Mars. Mars is red to represent aggressivity, to represent war, to represent Germany. Okay?
And blood.
The ancient carved the ram, and you see them fighting each other. And that's why the German accent is very army-like. And the best steel in the world is to be found in the mountain of Bavaria. Okay, so don't take your car. Why? Because between the steel, which is reptilius, a gun, a knife, you kill, you shoot, bullet, machinery. Okay, Mars, steel, That's the metal of the reptilius. Okay, a tank does not give you life. Okay, now the other side, opposite of the reptilius, is gold. First of all, it doesn't rust. It shows true love, true compassion. It lasts forever. It's beautiful. See the difference between a metal that's going to rust and kill you and the symbol of love in gold. Okay, so carry gold. You're going to attract the draconis. Don't go after the full moon. In the middle of nowhere, you're going to attract the reptilians. You're going to hijack you. You might disappear for good. Be cautious. It's real. Okay, leave your car away. Stay away from anything that is machinery. Anything. This is probably if you remember the story of right here in this state. I can't remember his name. I was with him in a cruise talking about UFOs last year, the year before. What is his name? He was shocked. What is I forgot his name now.
The guys that live there that are UFOs, we've got David Childress and William Henry.
No. We are talking about this guy in Arizona. He was with his friend
Phil Schneider.
No. It's well known in the ufology world. It's a young guy. He was cutting trees, and with his friend, he was with a truck, and all of a sudden he got shot by the ETs, and it disappeared for 2 or 3 days.
Travis Walton.
Travis Walton. Okay, when I channel. Okay, Travis Walton. Travis Walton was with his friend. He was in a truck, and in Arizona, you carry gun, you carry knife, and you carry tools to cut the trees. So everything wrong was there for him to attract the reptilians. And he was born, I did his stars. He was born with the moon in Aquarius, so he has the energy to attract extraterrestrial, especially with his friend, because Aquarius rules 11 house of wishes and friends. So he was electrocuted. Instead of staying far away and safe, he's an Aries. He's born in May, but he's an Aries. He went under the flying saucer. He was not invited, okay? And the reptilians saw that. And it took 3 or 4 days for the draconis to put him back together and drop him somewhere. It's not the reptilians killed him. He actually died. He was electrocuted that night.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in the middle of nowhere with so much metal. It's like lightning. It attracts the reptilians. It's electricity. If you have gold, it won't work the same way. It's actually protecting you.
Wow. So let me ask you this. I have a talisman here that I wear. It's silver, and it's got some Celtic symbols on it because I'm Irish and Italian. Mm-hmm. So on the one side, it's got, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. This is the Celtic triple knot.
Yep, I can see that.
On the obverse. And then the reverse is the snakes of St. Patrick, which indicates the 4 corners of the world and wisdom.
Exactly.
And wisdom, I can't remember what the triple knot represents, but what does silver do? Was it this?
The most important.
Does it attract something bad?
Yeah, it's going to help you to cook to get into real estate.
Okay. Well, I just recently bought a house, so it took a while.
Silver is all about home, family, security, real estate, and the moon. So it's affecting your 10th house of career. So anything to do with home, real estate, security, and food, that silver is going to help you. Put it this way. But at the same time, it's also bring a clarification of the thought. And then you have very, very deep, mystical, powerful symbolism on both sides that works on your favor.
So I need to get this in gold too then.
Well, no, I would stay with it, but you need to recharge it. You need to put it in when the moon is waxing. Right now, the moon is waxing. Okay. You want to put it outside and let it charge.
Does it have to touch the ground?
Well, it doesn't matter if you put it in the ground. It'd be good if you put it in the ground, as long as you get the moon ray. Silver is the moon. That's why we said the silver moon. It can only be charged with the moon. So, and now the moon is waxing, so there is no negative energy at all. And so you could charge it. You put it there for a few hours. You leave it all night. You wear it the next day. It's charged. It's going to go for 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, awesome. All right, I'm going to do that and see if it works.
No, he does work. You'll find out.
Okay. I believe you.
So, what else can you tell me about Capricorn, December 26th?
Well, you were born in the constellation of Sagittarius with your sun sign in Capricorn. And Capricorn is the head of the goat. In Christian theology, it is the symbol chosen to represent the devil, to represent Satan. Capricorn is a goat who has a fish tail. and it's a goal to climb the mountain. And Capricorn rules the rich, the snobs, the Illuminati, organization, engineering. It rules the government. And then the goat represents the top of the mountain, or the politician or the president. He's at the top. And he doesn't want to let go of power. So we could take as an example either Trump or Putin. Again, don't throw the baby with the water. I'm an astrologer. I'm not into politics. Okay. So that's the president who doesn't want to let go of power, and he's going to become the devil. He doesn't want to lose the power. He's going to kill. He's going to lie. He's going to abuse. He's going to send others to die in order to stay on top of the mountain. That's why Capricorn is the head of the goat. The structure, the Illuminati, the corporation, the power, the rich, the snob. England is a Capricorn country. And the Queen of England has the tail of the dragon in Capricorn. It's the longest living sign. That's why she doesn't die. Hitler was born with the tail of the dragon in Capricorn. That's why it was called and calculated. And it says Arbeit, which means work. Capricorn is all about building a pyramid of success. And he's never succeeded early in life. Okay, he succeeds later in life. And the fishtail means the opportunity to synchronize with the moon fluctuation. Capricorn should not use only the physical calendar. He has to use the witchcraft residue, which is his connection with the moon, and use the fishtail. It's a long story. I teach that to my student, to my client. But in many ways, do you have any joint problem or back problem? Knees or your back? What would you say?
I have a back injury.
No. I'm talking to Jeff for now.
For Capricorn, because I know I've heard things about knees and stuff. Sometimes I have arthritis a lot. Not really any knee trouble, but sometimes some back stuff, but nothing that serious.
Okay,
but
good.
Definitely arthritis and stuff.
Yeah,
maybe some posture situations.
Yeah, where Capricorn rules the joints and the skeleton. So you're going to have problem with the joints, especially if you live in a cold, snowy environment. The goat likes the mountain and the cold. He likes to climb. But if you have a problem, it'll be on your stomach. Don't eat when you're upset. You could burn the lining of your stomach when you eat when you're upset. That's the weakest area of your chart. But as a Sagittarius, you're born in December under the constellation of Sagittarius with your sun sign in Capricorn. Your soul's purpose is represented by the horse, which means traveling physically or intellectually, while the bow and arrow represent aiming either towards the codification of thought or above in the stars. And this is how Libra are regulated in the mind, the third house, October, November, December. All Libra thinks and talk like Sagittarius. They are philosophers, they are teachers, they are students. And then you have the head of the dragon right in the third house of Jade. And that represents why, since the third house rules communication, Gemini, radio communication, you guys have been together forever. The stars already played a trick on you, but you're not cosmic conscious to rationalize or understand it. That's what I do. I explain it to you right now. And as far as you're concerned, Jay, are you afraid of water? Are you okay with water?
I'm good with water. I was actually swimming before I was actually able to run or do anything athletic. I was on the swim team till I was 16.
Okay, so you're positive in your 6 hours. What about your sleeping pattern? Do you have any problem there?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I don't sleep too good. I'll sleep a few hours, wake up, and then go back to bed.
Yeah, your mental process is too fast. You need to shut it down.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I just can't shut my brain off, and I'm like, God, I gotta go to sleep. I gotta go to work, but I can't, cut it off.
Yeah, this is how it works. What about allergies, Jeffrey? Do you have any allergies?
No, not none I could think of.
Okay, good. What about you? Did you ever broke an arm or a finger?
I've never broke any bones or anything.
You never been stopped by the cops driving too fast?
No. All right,
so I'm looking at your tail of the dragon. It's all positive. The only negativity is maybe with your siblings, brothers and sisters. You might have a problem there. I don't want to go into the detail. I can see I have your chart in front of me, so I can see that.
There's some truth there for sure.
I know. Tail of the dragon in Gemini sometimes means your aptitude of communication is so good, but you could behave like a bull in the china shop sometimes, being too honest and too direct, and people don't like to hear the truth. And then each time you lose a friend or a family member, you're messing up your wishes. You got to be cautious. too honest and too direct is not good. People don't like the truth. I've learned
They
that
do.
over the
Honestly,
years.
no. Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way. You don't gamble, do you, Jay?
Not officially. I've done it a few times in Arizona and in Reno, but I brought money that was only going to be for gambling. If I lost it, no big deal, but nothing more.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a problem with those born in October. They like to gamble, and sometimes it gets out of control. And not only
I
this,
keep it under control. I don't even bet against. Like I don't bet you like your football team's going to win or my football team's going to win. I'll bet me against you. If you and I play pool, I'll bet you. I'll beat you. And if I lose money to you, so what?
That's no gambling. That's more of a challenge. And, your lesson is to learn the laws and respect the laws and teach the laws as well. A lot of people born in October, they're psychologists, they are cops, they are attorneys, they're very, very smart people. In fact, I have two. I have my two sisters have two daughters, okay, and both of them are doctors, and both of them were born in October. So you never tell a child born in October to open a book. They are very educated in so many ways. And that could make them also a snob as far as science education is concerned. I mean, you're talking of Neil deGrasse. He's a Libra, so it's all about science and nothing else. But anyway, but you face the world as an Aries. That could make you very, very aggressive. I have a lot of friends born in October. They are bouncers, they are fighters, and they're not afraid. They're very, very physical. They're not afraid to stand. You face the world as an Aries with a set of horns. Okay.
Yeah, I don't welcome conflict, but I have taken martial arts. I have a wall of weapons over here. I've got nunchaku that I used to teach. When I said I was a teacher, I used to teach nunchaku at a martial arts school. So I'm not incapable of defending myself, but I'd rather not. I'd really if I have to, the last resort. Exactly. I've got guns, I've got swords, I've got nunchaku. I have many ways to defend myself.
That's the beauty of Libra. All you want is balance and harmony, but you're very sensitive. A little bit of wind, and then you turn out as an Aries, and you have horns, and then you're not afraid of fighting. Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he taught me how to use nunchaku, actually.
Exactly. So there is information on each sign of the zodiac that is well past of what traditional psychology or psychiatry can offer their patients. And that's why I'm very successful, because people who come and see me, when they're done after 1 hour with me on Zoom, they're completely regenerated. I talk about the good and the bad, their fate, the laws that apply to them in great detail. And then the reward is there, constantly in demand. I do one person, next thing I know, I'll do the entire family, because these people realize what I can do. And many of them already have tried traditional science to fix their problem. It didn't work. So last resort, Dr. Turi should be coming first. But hey, that's how it is. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's often and I think this is a worldwide problem with humans, is they don't fix the problem. They recognize it, but they don't fix the problem until it's too late.
Oh, that's basically the laws. We're on hell. You're not going to go to hell. This is it. And we don't learn by reading books. Suddenly enough, that's why it hurts emotionally, physically. Anything wrong that you do, you're going to pay the price. It's called karma. And this is how humans learn. They're not smart enough to learn the other way.
Yeah, it sounds like the old phrase, stupid hurts, but it'll teach you.
Talk about me.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we've all done some dumb things in our lives.
But
you make those mistakes, and today parents nowadays, they don't smack their children. They have timeouts, or they have these little love sessions. When I was a kid, if you messed up, your parents gave you a spanking.
Yes,
and
exactly.
The pain reinforcement. I mean, look at the police officers. Even though they might be some nice guys, there are a lot of great people who are police officers. There are a lot of bad police officers that are they're terrible at their job, and there are others that are great at their job. Either way, they use pain management to control bad guys. They don't come up and give them a flower and go, "Hey, come, let's go tip through the toilet to the tulips." They beat the crap out of you to control you if you're doing bad things.
You're talking about your life here. The police captain of New York and his son are a good friend of mine, students of mine, by the way. And I wish they knew use my software. I have a software that I designed with Advanced Software in Los Angeles. Any cop and the trooper, they have the technology, and the first thing they're going to get is the driving license. Right there, you have the date of birth. So any cop can enter that information and being trained in getting the reflex to know if they are dealing with a plutonic soul, which means a soul that is so infected that will not hesitate to kill him. So that is the red light. And then you have the normal law-abiding guy like you and I, like us, who could be stopped by the cops. Yes, officer. Thank you, officer. Bye-bye. Okay, that's a big difference. And suddenly enough, the cops are learning the hard way, and many of them don't come back home. Okay, and it's sad because the police administration should really, if you save one life, I said so, it's worth to try. Yeah, and I'm offering my services to the cops for free because I got so many cops, and you should read the letters that I get from their family members and how sad they are sometimes when they die. And this can be avoided. Knowledge is power, ignorance is evil. And sad enough, the most critical and important gift that I have that can benefit the police, making sure that a brave police officer, a brave guys, the civil servant return home to their family, is not being used. It's sad. There's nothing I can do because, as I said, the U.S. Department of Education or the police or the scientific community, they're not going to dig into my work because they think I'm a cuckoo. They don't know better, so they judge me. They assume he's a psychic, he's a cuckoo. There's no one talking about UFOs, astrology, and then they're missing the big gift. That's sad, but that's how it is. Only those who vibrate at your cosmic speed will come into your life. It's only when the student is ready that the teacher will appear. That's basically what I have learned. That's why I don't push anymore. I don't push, and since I behave this way, not trying hard, man, it's popping left and right. I just do what I do best. Do my YouTube video, write my newsletter, make my prediction, educate people when they have a question. And then God is blessing me. I'm emotionally, financially, and spiritually very, very stable, very secure.
That's an excellent point. Not pushing, and I've used that in my life, and I've told other people, like friends of mine, like younger people, like how do I find love? How do I find the girl I want? And I tell them the simple thing: stop looking.
Exactly.
Stop look. Don't look. It'll come to you.
Well, yeah, there is some woman who asked me, Dr. Turi, how do I get pregnant? Well, that's a different story. Most of those ladies are vegetarian. Okay, they have a very, very strong Virgo in their chart, and then they are health fanatic. Literally, they're anti-vaxxers. They stuff themselves with green. I tell these people, you're not born with flat teeth and 3 stomachs to regurgitate on grass all night long. You're not a cow. You're not a tiger either, born with fangs and claws to eat only steak. You're a human being. So if you don't keep your balance, you're going to get cold. You're going to become repellent. You're going to have a problem getting pregnant. So I said, change your diet. A glass of wine a day will keep the doctor away, okay? Find a nice Italian restaurant, red sauce, red spaghetti, red wine, and go and make love when the moon is in Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. That's where it's going to be easy for the egg to reach sperm, or vice versa, okay? And then 3 of them go pregnant.
Wow,
there is all sorts of, every single disease or problems come from a blockage. Like in my case, I had cancer, okay, about 13 years ago. After 12 years of marriage, my wife dropped me. I didn't do nothing wrong. Just like a shock. Never thought this woman was going to drop me. She fell in love with the TV producers in a TV show I was doing in Las Vegas. The guy had the stars and her stars. It was like an incredible, uncontrollable chemistry, and they end up screwing each other. The next thing you know, my wife dropped me. And then for like a month, depressed, drinking, drunk every day. I was just going downhill like you have no idea. And the next thing I know, oh, shit, I got cancer. Then I realized, man, I brought all this to me. When you're negative, you're infected by the reptilians 2 or 3 times and nearly got killed in an accident. I was saved by the light, literally. But after a certain time, I realized what I did, and I got myself back together, okay? And I bypassed this blockage. cancer is gone. I never took any chemotherapy. I used my universal blood transfusion, pray God, and then I'm clear.
That's good to hear.
And
Yeah.
how can you talk about cancer if you never had it? I mean, you go through so much incredible level of emotions. I had to accept my death, my mortality. I never believed in God. Believe me, I believe in God. When that happened to me, there is also things that get to you. You're about to lose your life. That's serious. I didn't want to lose my life. I wanted my wife to be with me. I wanted my dog to be with me, my family, everybody. I fought. I said, instead of crying and being depressed and accepting, I'm going to fight. And I turned around and I fought and I won. So now I can teach anyone as a cancer survivor what it means to have cancer. And it goes the same with everything else. My life is crazy. The more experience you have, the more pain you suffer, the more shit, excuse my French, you go through, the more power to you at the end.
That pretty much, I had testicular cancer at 17, and basically I was going to school and had pain down there. And basically I went to a doctor and he goes, "You've been having too much sex. This is from sex." I'm like, "I'm a virgin, you idiot." And then they had to do exploratory surgery, and I woke up and they took a nut and said I had to go through chemo. So I cried. And then I went through all that. I'm fine now for the most part. I certainly don't have cancer. But then a few years later, my dad died. That's when all my weird stuff started happening. UFOs, seeing beings of light, seeing small hooded beings, which could have been bad or good. I don't know what they were, but they were standing around a black box, small little beings in the woods, and just a bunch of weird stuff. It seemed like that pain and suffering brought on those experiences, or gave me the power to have those experiences. And I think a lot of it was my dad, too, trying to reach me from the other side. Because I saw beings of light completely sober with my physical eyes leave my house, and I would see them in the heavens. I saw one fly through the air like Superman, like a person made of light, just fly through the sky, like weird stuff like that. So that's something about suffering opens your senses.
Absolutely.
Shamanic death.
There is no doubt in my mind that following the cancer experiences, I became a different man. That's for sure. But in the bottom of my heart, I realized that I had to fight. You can easily give up, when everything was too much against you, and then once you sunk into the quicksand of depression and the reptilians are on you, there is one little chance where you can escape. If you don't take it, you're a goner. Yeah.
And did you have to go through chemo?
No. I refuse it. My two oncologists told me you need to go through chemotherapy. You want to make sure you don't come back. I says, no. My intuition told me different. So what I did, I actually, I went shopping. I was led to go shopping, and I ended up on the kind of a veggie area. Okay, and I said, what the hell am I doing here? What I was looking for was for roots. I was looking for things that I never seen and never ate and never tested before. My intuition was leading me. So I took a bunch of stuff and I mixed it with carrots, celery, all sorts of green, and I juiced it all. And I put some honey and I drank it. Oh my gosh, it felt like a tornado inside. It was so disgusting. My eyes was popping out of my head. But I did that universal blood transfusion. I mean, you're gonna juice a dozen of carrots, and then you're gonna have this juice in a glass, right? And that's the concentration of the nutrient that your body needs to fight any form of infection or fungus. And then I just drank all these roots, all that stuff. I did it for weeks at a time, and then gone, completely gone.
Very cool. So you juiced. I've heard good things about juicing, but what were some of the roots? Is there some in particular ones you could tell us about?
No. I just was led to anything that I have never seen and never tested before. That was the answer. Okay. My body was lacking nutrients that could thinking, and I was doing all sorts of stupid things instead of being healthy. So my body needed a boost of natural ingredients, and just stuff myself with it. And then that's it. That's terrible, though, don't get me wrong. but I just completely cleansed my entire atomic structure, my bloodstream, my liver, my spleen, everything was cleaned. And cancer is gone. Cancer has no room in an over-oxygenated, very rich body. It has no room there. It can't survive. I mean, it's like having a lot of light, into a bat. Same old story, the good and bad.
Well, I'm glad you're still kicking. I'm glad I'm still kicking. I'm glad Jay's still kicking. I'm glad Joe Montano, JoJo, who owns the network,
is still out there. Joe Montano is still out there. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm 72 now. I'm 72, and I started.
What?
Yeah.
No. I would have guessed in your early 60s, late 50s. I'm 55.
I was born February 26, 1950.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great having you on. We got like 3 minutes. What's some websites? You want to give some website plugs or something you'd like to get people to get to you?
Well, again, if you are into the superconscious in time and space, and you should be, you will realize that your future is nothing else than the reincarnation of your thoughts. So you need to pay attention to this. Your future is nothing else than the reincarnation of your thoughts. So if you said, "Oh, I want to win the lottery," you sign a good energy, but you're going to say, "But nobody wins." Now you put water on the fire. So the movie that I have on the superconscious will teach you on some of my own example, and some are really painful, how you can handle the magic. In magic, one of the keys to realize that you were made in the image of God. There's no difference between two images. So you are God and goddesses in training on this dense physical world. Again, learning that the future is nothing else than the reincarnation of the thought. So knowing all about the superconscious creative force is a must if you want to succeed. Now, if you are into UFOs, go and check the good and the bad one, and don't feed the bad one. It's going to be difficult to do. It's going to take you a while to understand the reptilius effect or the draconis effect. Is to make the right choice. You can do it as long as you have the information. You into astrology? Hey, I did the chart of the TV producer who did the show. These movies, they're doing very well, and they are for free, and they are on my website because that's what I do. And if you need my services, again, you can't talk. You just cannot talk. Why? Because I have more answers than you have questions. Okay, which means we're going to discuss everything about you from A to Z. Nothing will not be discussed. You can only talk as long as you want. Once the channeling is over, because I'm preparing you for the second part when I dedicate and clean your superconscious. So the way I work is you got to record everything, because it's so much information that's going to be pouring at you. You won't be able to digest. I don't want you to dissect or investigate anything. I just want you to sponge it all in, and then do the work after, once you download that very long movie of me talking about you. I'm going to send you 3-4 years ahead of you, go and get you before you were born, talk about your health, your money, your career, God knows what, and how your natal dragon is going to help you, curse you, and that is if you don't remove the black moon. And I know how to do that, and I'll do all that for you. So go to drturi.com, and then we go from there. Until then, Jeffrey, my good friend, thanks so much for having me, for being a fantastic platform. Jay, man, you're a blessing to the humanity with such a wisdom out there. I had a really, really good time dedicating you guys tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Turi. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Take care.
Take care.
All right, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Have a good weekend.